What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel, and today I thought we could take a look at my physical PS5 collection. I thought what we could do is maybe give my opinions on the games, how difficult I thought they were, and just for an added little bit of fun is maybe rank them as we go. Let's do this. So these first two games I'm going to get out of the way quite quickly because, simply put, I haven't played them. So starting us off, Jurassic World Evolution 2, a present bought for me from my good friend Paul. I just haven't got round to playing it yet. Absolutely love the first one, so really excited to play this one. It does seem it is a little bit more difficult. We're coming in at a 6 out of 10, around 80 hours. So yeah, definitely seems that there's a bit more of a challenge there than the first one, but very much looking forward to it. Now let's see the other game I haven't played. So the other game I haven't played then being Tales of Arise. Now if I had have played this, I imagine it would be quite high up on this list. I feel bad just putting this down the bottom, but yeah, we'll rank the other ones a bit more fairly. This game, it looks absolutely exceptional. I don't know why I haven't started it yet. It's just been sat collecting dust. I'm a big fan of JRPGs, as you guys know. So yeah, I really am looking forward to it. I have seen somebody play a big chunk of this game, so I know kind of what to expect. And yeah, I just love the world and the combat, the art style. It just looks so beautiful, so I'm really looking forward to starting this one. I don't say that about a lot of games I haven't started yet, but yeah, I definitely cannot wait to play this. So yeah, we've got those two out of the way. Let's move on to the true ranking now, the games I have played, starting with what's in 14th place. Starting the true ranking off then, in 14th is Riders Republic. Now, by no means a bad game, but something has to, come last. I've bought all these games for a reason. It's because I enjoy them all. But yeah, unfortunately, something is in last place. It is actually pretty good. I think they've learned a lot from, from Steep and from the crew and made a better package. Coming in at a sort of 3 out of 10, around 35 hours. It's not too difficult, but if there's any tips or a heads up I can kind of give you is if you are planning on playing this game, make sure that you're doing the mass races as you go. There's a trophy for doing 50 of them. They only appear every 30 minutes. So if you do keep putting them off when they appear to concentrate on other things, you are going to be left with a little bit of a grind at the end. Number 13, unfortunately, has to be Lego The Skywalker Saga. Now, I absolutely adore the Lego games. I've played pretty much all of them. The reason this is as low as it is on this list is it's coming in at a 4 out of 10. I don't think that difficulty is fair. It's probably a 2 in my opinion, but it's the 100 hours. And it took me 120 on my game, which is way too long for a Lego game. I was able to see it through because I simply love Star Wars. I love everything about it, so there was enough there for me to stay, engaged and enjoy it. But yeah, way too long for a Lego game, and that's why it falls in 13th. Next on the list, and at number 12, is Need for Speed Unbound. Coming in at a 3 out of 10, around 40 hours. Pretty much what you'd expect from a Need for Speed game. They have tried to mix it up a little bit with some of the art style. It is a little funky in places, but for me, who loves cars so much and wants that kind of authentic experience, I thought it got in the way a little bit, if I'm honest. Story is a little bit weak. The driving isn't the best overall, but it's just another entry from the series. So to 11th on the list then, and we've got Far Cry 6. Coming in at a 3 out of 10, around 30 hours, albeit a different game, very similar to Need for Speed in the sense that it's just another entry, isn't it, from the series. They don't differ too much, it's very much the same, but we buy it because it's what we enjoy. It's not going to break any records, but if you just want to have a bit of mindless fun, a bit of bombastic action in a first-person shooter, then I would look no further than the Far Cry games, and 6 was a great entry as well. So breaking into the top 10 then, ladies and gentlemen, it's Gran Turismo 7, coming in at a 7 out of 10 difficulty, around in 90 hours. It's not the most difficult Gran Turismo. I think that difficulty is just due to some of the licenses, I would say. But overall, it's not my favourite either. I do think from kind of when I used to play these as a kid, it's gone away from that. I really miss kind of working your way up from the beginning and having to really earn cash buying a second-hand car and working your way through the cups, where now it's just, you know, Gran Turismo 7, we're talking about that one. You are kind of working your way through a load of, you know, cafe menus as it's pushed on you, and cars are just given willy-nilly, and I don't know, I didn't quite enjoy it as much as I wish I had. It's still a great game, but certainly not one of the best in the series in my opinion. Now I'm going to cheat a little bit with this one. We're going to have two entries for 9th and 8th. If I was going to order them, I would put F122 9th, F123 8th. I do think that they've improved yet again, but similar to some of the other entries, it is just another kind of updated version of their already great games. The F122 did come in at a 4 out of 10 40 hours, but they massively upped the ante with 23. Although there's not a guide on PSMP just yet, something I have found online has suggested it's around an 8 out of 10 because of the way the online works now, which is getting promoted through divisions, which ultimately can get reset if you don't get to Elite in time. But yeah, as a huge Formula 1 fan, I was very happy to get this done this year as well. Now, I feel really bad putting this so low down, but maybe there's a reason why I put it as number 7, subconsciously, I don't know. But yeah, we've got Final Fantasy VII Crisis Core Reunion. When this was first announced, I was absolutely overjoyed, as you can imagine. FF7 OG being my greatest game. Not having a PSP and being able to play this, so yeah, I was absolutely overjoyed. It is a fantastic game. It's probably just its arcade nature, which I still enjoyed, but it's probably what pulls it a little bit further back on this ranking for me. But yeah, really, really good to kind of see Zack's story. I did enjoy pretty much everything it had to offer. It was a little bit annoying doing those 300 simulator missions. That did take a lot of time, but around a 4 out of 10 difficulty, 40 hours, it does offer a fair challenge. But if you're a kind of seasoned, you know, veteran with these types of games, you'll have no problem at all. So number 6 on the list, Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart, coming in at 2 out of 10. It says 10 hours, although you've got to be, in my opinion, really rushing the game if you're going to do it that quickly. It doesn't have New Game Plus trophies like the prequel. However, I mean, I just played it at a natural pace. I felt like I did search a little bit, but probably not as much as I could have, and I still spent around 18, 19 hours with it. But yeah, the game is absolutely amazing, so beautiful. Aside from Astro's Playroom, it was my first game on my PS5. I couldn't wait to boot it up, and it was just that initial loading in what made me realise how quick the SSD was on the PS5. But yeah, what a beautiful, you know, game. A great follow-up to, you know, the previous one. I think it's improved in every single way. I loved the, you know, the addition of Rivet as well. Thought she was very, very cool. But yeah, unbelievable game. If you haven't played it, go and play it. Without further ado, let's move on to the top 5. Now, people are probably going to hate me for this one. I can already hear the comments, but hear me out. So, number 5, Forspoken, first of all, coming in around a 4 out of 10, 40 hours according to PSMP. I absolutely love this game, and I can't beg you enough to go and give it a try if you haven't already. You know, put aside all these critics, you know, who are hating on the game. If you are on the fence and just a little bit unsure, it is really, really good. I know a lot of people had issues with kind of the dialogue and how Freya was as a character, but I can assure you a lot of that was from the beginning of the game, and it's kind of to be expected. I mean, if you were just sucked through a wormhole or a portal, if you like, into another world, how would you react? How would any of us react? We don't know. Probably a bit crazy, like she is. But as she kind of finds herself as a character, you start to see different sides of Freya as a whole, and she is a really, really good protagonist. Adding little bits of fun as well with her foul mouth as well. She's a typical, you know, foul mouth New Yorker. You wouldn't expect, you know, anything less. Couple that up with her companion, which I won't touch too much on because he is honestly great. But yeah, the combat's super cool. The combinations with all of the magic is very, very interesting. The recent DLC that they added also just adds another layer to Frey as a whole. And yeah, I'm very much against everyone who doesn't like this game because it's absolutely fantastic, and the reason why it's my 5th favourite game from my physical collection. So from one fantastic game to another one, in 4th place we've got Star Wars Jedi Survivor, coming in at around a 3 out of 10, 50 hours. It's probably going to take you a bit longer if you love to explore the world of Star Wars like I did. And what a sequel. I feel that they've upped the ante and they've improved everything from Fallen Order. Both brilliant games, but I definitely think that they've gone above and beyond with this. The combat and some of the traversal, the worlds, the story, the characters. It was just absolutely beautiful to explore. I think it helps being a huge Star Wars fan, but I think even as a neutral, you will really, really enjoy this game. So if it's something that you've potentially had on your list, go and play it straight away. Combat is so good. Story's amazing. I could talk about it all day. Let's get on number 3. So we're into the top 3 and we've got God of War Ragnarok. So coming in at a 4 out of 10, around 45 hours. What an absolute game, ladies and gentlemen. A pure masterpiece. If I had to choose between this and the previous game, I still think the previous game edges it ever so slightly. In my mind, I still don't know why, but yeah, I think it's maybe because it was more fresh, and this game, it does kind of feel like you are playing more of the same. Not that that's a problem, they've kept it the same for a reason. I think if I had to put my finger on something, it was maybe the pacing a little bit. I felt like sometimes the story was really, really picking up, and then there would be in a trace section for some time, or it would really just drop the pacing to go into other areas. I don't know, I'm probably just clutching at straws, but I feel like those little moments just kind of stopped it from going beyond the previous game. But yeah, other than that, absolutely amazing, and for someone who loves Norse mythology, it is just the perfect game. You guys know I would have loved to have put this number 1, my Aloy. However, one other game does beat that, unfortunately. But yeah, let's talk about Forbidden West. What a game, and it just completely surpasses the first game, Zero Dawn, in every area for me. I mean, other than the kind of origin story you get of Aloy in Zero Dawn, this game is just better in every single way. I do miss kind of watching her grow in the original, but yeah, this was so cool. Just everything about the game, being able to now go on the water, glide through the sky, fly, seeing places like Vegas and San Francisco, things that felt familiar to you. It was just great, and the story as a whole, although quite convoluted in areas, it is absolutely amazing. And unfortunately, not everyone wanted to take that time out, speaking to Gaia, for instance, for half an hour at a time after each mission to really, have all the blanks filled in. But yeah, if you are willing to kind of commit that time, that the story is absolutely superb. And just putting it out there, the greatest video game character ever made. Am I right, Leon? Now, I bet you all seen this coming an absolute mile off. It wouldn't be a list of mine if Final Fantasy wasn't number 1, would it? But I don't think that's the bias talking here. Final Fantasy 16 is not only the best game that I have physical at the moment, it's one of the best games of a generation, if not of all time. It is absolutely superb, and I really, really think that they've gone to levels that were far beyond what anyone could have anticipated. It has to win Game of the Year for me. I know there's been some great games so far. We've still got some great games to come out. Obviously Zelda come out this year, which seems to be the kind of go-to, but Final Fantasy has upped its game in so many areas, and those icon fights, oh my word, those icon fights. But Clive as a character, going in, I was a bit, critical of his name and that kind of thing, but no, as a character, he's absolutely unbelievable. If you haven't played this game, or you haven't played a Final Fantasy game, it's a good starting point. I always say to play 7 because it's my favourite, but this could really, really get you hooked onto the series. But yeah, the game is amazing. It does say 3 out of 10, 75 hours, but I think that's a little bit vague and a bit of a weird one, because there are things within the game that can help make it a 3 out of 10. There are rings that you can wear which can pretty much evade attacks without you having to do anything. But if you're prepared to not use those, it's arguably maybe a 5, I think, is probably a bit more fair. But also that 75 hours. I mean, it took me, I think, just over 100. So it really does depend how you approach it. You know, when you do your new game plus, are you watching all the cutscenes again? Are you skipping them? It really depends how the game is approached ultimately. But yeah, what a game. It's definitely game of the year. One of the best games I've ever played. I could talk about this forever. I'm not going to, because I promised myself we'd do a short video for once, even though we had 16 games to talk about. But please, guys, I beg you, go and play Final Fantasy 16. So there you have it, everyone. That's the 16 physical games I have. 2 I still need to play. The ranking of the other 14. Let me know in the comments how much of a mess I made of that. If there are any games that you're thinking, like, where's Hogwarts Legacy? You know, where's this? Where's that? There are a lot of games that I've bought digitally, Hogwarts Legacy being one of them, which absolutely would have been towards the top of the list. But I wanted to keep it more about the physical games that I'd collected along the way. Of course, before I do bid you farewell, I just want to give a massive thanks and a shout out to my patrons and of course to my channel members, which without none of this will be possible. So thank you so much. And if you've enjoyed the video, please like, comment, subscribe, all of that good stuff. All the links will be down in the description as per usual. And whatever you're doing, look after yourself, stay safe and keep on keeping on.